Today we are going to be going over some of the features of Stop Motion Studio, the app. So I'm going to open up the app. It is a blue app. It says Stop Motion. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to create a new movie. So I'm going to click the plus sign and this will come up, and sometimes it will come up with a little tutorial. I'm just going to click dismiss on that. One thing that I really want to point out before getting started of this app is the little question mark that's in the bottom right hand corner. When you click on that, it can be really helpful because it is going to show you the different tools and label them for you. And there's also going to be a button that says learn more that pops up also in the lower right hand corner next to the question mark. And when you click on that, it's actually going to bring you to their website called help.stopmotionstudio.com, and it's going to really walk through a lot of the different tools for you and with you. Now, this is a lot of reading, and I'm sure that you can also find videos on YouTube that show you the same things, but if you're having a question about how to use something, this will be a great resource for you to use. Unfortunately, a lot of the things in this app you do need to pay for, so just be aware of that as you're going through some of the tools and going through the Learn More page, that some of those tools will not be available to you unless you pay for it. And again, I'm not going to require that you pay for anything inside of this app. Okay, to get rid of all of the labels, I'm going to push the question mark again, and let's talk through some of the features. The first thing that I want to talk about is when I click the question mark, the one that says settings. It's the little gear. When I click on that, the biggest thing that I want you to pay attention to is your frame per second. Frames per second, another way to say that is pictures per second. So it's going to be how many pictures you need to take to create 1 second of video. If your frames per second or pictures per second is pretty low, your video is going to be very choppy. If your frames per second or your pictures per second is very high, your video is going to be pretty seamless. However, you are going to have to take a lot of pictures, because if you think about it, 30 pictures is going to be 1 second. So 3 seconds of video to tell a tiny bit of your story is already going to be 90 pictures. So what I'm going to do is go kind of in the middle. I like to stick to around 15. I would say like 12 to 15 is kind of a safe space to go, which means right now I would need to take 15 photos to create 1 second of video. So I'm going to click done, and I'm going to go through a couple more things with you. Another thing is the most important thing, and when I click the question mark, it's the one that says capture. That's where you are going to take all of your pictures. So I'm going to hold up my iPad here and just show you kind of my background, my space, my little studio here. And let's just look at what happens when I click that button. When I click the red button, it is going to take a photograph. And then I can continue, and now actually my onion skin is on, which is, if I click the question mark on the left-hand side right now, I'm going to turn that all the way off, and we will talk about that in just a moment. So I'm going to turn that all the way down, just so you can see my screen. Okay, I'm going to click the red button, move my object, click the red button, move my object, click the red button, move my object, and you can see that this process does take a while. Now, as I do this, I want to talk about a couple things. One is going to be consistency. Consistency is super important when doing a stop motion video. You want to make sure that your iPad is not moving around so that in one frame your object is here and in another frame your object is all the way down here. So you are going to want to use a stand, a tripod. You're going to want to lean it against something so that as you take pictures, it's not moving all the way around. You also want to make sure that your lighting is consistent. So you won't want to film half of your video in the daytime and half of your video in the nighttime. And you also don't want to stand or hover over top of your object to cast some sort of shadow that might not have been there in the last frame. So those are two things to really go with consistency. Another thing is changing the background. So what I wouldn't want to do, let's say I'm eating lunch and I happen to throw something away in my garbage can back here, so I move my garbage can. So now all of a sudden in one frame my garbage can is here, and in the next frame my garbage can is moved over. So make sure that you're keeping your background and the surrounding things around your object and what you're using as your story consistent, unless you're using it as some sort of effect. Then you can change the background, you can do different things around, but that's only if you're doing it purposefully. Okay, now I just kind of messed up my project because I don't remember where my stapler was last. This is where the onion skin is going to come in. So if I click the question mark, you can see the onion skin is on the left-hand side. What I am going to do is I'm going to lower this down just a little bit, and you can see it will actually show me what my last frame was and where my object was in my last frame, so that I am able to line up my next frame perfectly. You can bring it all the way down and it can be completely see-through, or you can bring it kind of medium so that you can line it up. So this is my last frame right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my iPad so that I have consistency, and I'm going to line it up the best that I can. So I'm trying my very best. Ooh, that looks pretty good. And then I do want it to be a little bit forward because my stapler is supposed to be moving across my screen. And now I can take that picture, and if you leave the onion skin on, you will continue to see that effect, kind of that ghost effect. But if you turn the onion skin off and go all the way to the top, that will go away and you can just continue doing your work, okay? A couple other things that I do want to point out. If you want something to stay on the screen for a long period of time, maybe if you are using words or a title or you're drawing something, you might not want it to go as fast as this. So I'll show you kind of how fast this is going. I'll push play. Super fast. So let's say that you wrote an entire title. That's about 1 second of video because it's about 15 pictures. Your audience is not going to be able to read your title or see your words or your pictures that quickly. So one thing that you can do, again, I'm going to click the question mark. If you hold down the capture button, it is going to let you take multiple pictures at a time. So let's say I want to take 5 at a time and click done. Now, when I take a picture of my stapler, it actually just took 5 photos. If I move it again, it takes 5 more. If I move it again, it takes 5 more. And this is going to slow down my video. So you'll be able to see, I'll show you in just a moment, what it looks like when I go from 1 frame per that little millisecond versus 5. So I'll show you. I'm going to keep going all the way across. And now let's go to the beginning. This beginning part is going to be very fast. This is just 1 picture. And then you can see it starts getting more jumpy, and that's when it gets to the 5. So if you want something to last on the screen for a longer period of time, you might want to use this tool. But if you want something to be going pretty quickly, then you won't really want to use this tool. Okay, I'm going to hold down the capture button, and I'm going to go back to 1, because then that will be 1 picture every time I take it. All right, and then I'm going to go all the way back to my camera. A couple other things, you can use the timer. This is super helpful. Let's say if you're running to take a picture of yourself. So let's say my stapler is me, and I take a picture, and then I need to go again. You can click on the timer button, which is above the capture button, and let's say you want just like a 5-second timer. Then you can, start here, and you can run. You'll take your picture. It will count you down 3, 2, 1. And it will take your picture for you. And then it will actually keep going. Keep going. Until you push stop. And then you can get rid of the timer by pushing timer and going to off. So if you're doing something with a human or something where you need to move back and forth from the camera back to your spot, then you are going to want to use the timer tool. If you want to switch your camera from back camera to front camera, you're going to click on the button that says camera settings. So below your capture button, there's a play button and a camera setting button. You're going to click on that, and then there is a word that says rear and a word that says front. Right now it's my rear camera. It's the out-facing camera, the back camera. If I click front, it's going to switch to the front camera. So depending on which one you want it to be on, that's an option as well. Okay, the last thing I really want to go through with you today is the voiceover. So I'm going to show you again. Voiceover is right at the beginning. It looks like a little microphone. When you click on that, you are going to click on the record button, and you will be able to record your voice. You could record music off of another device, a radio, an Alexa, another iPad, a phone. If you wanted to add audio and music to your project, you can do that. But you can click record. It will give you a countdown. And then you can talk over top of your video, go, and then push stop. push play, and then you can talk over top of your video, go, 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 and then push. And then you'll be able to either re-record it if you don't like it or push done. Now, once it's on there, if you push the play button that's below the capture button, and then you can talk over top of your video, go, go, go. You'll be able to see the audio and you'll be able to hear it as well. If you would like to edit your audio, what you're going to do is just do one little click. Just tap that frame that has the little music icon in it, push audio, and you'll be able to trim it to make it shorter, and you'll also be able to fade it. So fade is like something if you have credits at the end of your movie or something, and you want the music to fade out and be quiet, you can pull this back and fade it out. So I'll show you what that sounds like. Talk over top of your video, go, 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 and then push. So you can see it started loud and got quieter. And then, of course, you can trim it as well if you don't want it to be as long as it is. You can control the volume. You can control a couple other things in here as well. The speed. So
and then you
can slow it down or you can speed it up.
And then you can talk over.
So that's kind of fun. All right. Another thing that I do want to point out is if you just tap the frame, you can do a couple different things. You can edit it. So if you click on the edit button, you'll be able to then click on the edit button again, and you can change the opacity, the lighting, the color. You can put a filter on it. Unfortunately, the ones with the little lock on them are going to be ones you have to pay for, but you could put a black and white filter on it. You can do different alignments. You can move it up. You can move it down. You can do some mirroring. So you can kind of flip. You can go upside down. And you can rotate as well. So you have the option to do some editing within this app too. And then you're just going to push the back arrow and it will go back. And then another thing is if you click on it, you can copy. So you can copy, and then if you tap again, you can paste. And then you can paste again, and you can do as much of that as you want. And you can select more than one frame at once by clicking the select tool and then dragging over and selecting multiple. And after you have all of these selected, I have 9 selected right now, they're all blue. You just tap with your finger again. You can put them in reverse. You can delete them, you can copy and paste them, or you can deselect them. So like if I wanted to reverse them, I click reverse, and now my stapler is going to be moving backwards instead of forwards. Okay, so there's lots of different options that you can do by even just tapping the frame and looking at those as well. Okay, hopefully this was helpful. I'll be talking more about this in class. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Schoology or email me as well. Have fun!